Here on the Market Day Report, let's take these commodities one at a time. We'll start with the corn market here first. May corn at this point in time down 8 cents at 5.49 3/4. The new crop December down 4 1/4 at 4.67 1/4. And let's bring in Todd Horowitz with Bubba Trading. Good morning, Todd. Before we went on the air, you and I were having just a small discussion. You said it's a typical Monday when corn is pulling back. What is it with these markets pulling back on these Mondays here, especially with the corn like it is?
Good morning, John. I think what happens is you have the weekends and people start thinking about the news and they start thinking about maybe they've got some profits they want to lock in. So they go ahead and sell it on Monday, and then we spend the rest of the week rallying and then usually taking out the top of the market again. And I think it's kind of like a vicious circle right here. And, until we, finally break out again out of this range, which I think we will break out to the upside, I think that you're going to see this repetitively, as you come into Mondays. Mondays historically in all markets can be a little bit weaker because people have all weekend to think about things and they start to get a little bit nervous and they work themselves up a little bit into a little bit of a frenzy to get to sell on Mondays. So typically, not a real surprise. I think nothing has changed. Corn looks great as well as beans.
Speaking of soybeans, let's look at those futures as well. We've got this front month of soybeans on the May contract here down 7 now at 14.09 1/4. The November down 8 3/4 at 12.11 1/4. You mentioned the breakout there in the corn market. You think we could break out in these soybeans as well?
I wouldn't be surprised. I think we're going to get past $15, John, eventually here. Look, at the end of the day, if you look at the pattern, if you look at what's going on, every time they come down, they actually what they call make a higher low. So they're making more of a trajectory, which is going up, which that's what you want. And that is actually, from a technical standpoint, very, very bullish to the market. So I think when you look at it, you want to assume until this pattern changes, we're going to be in the same pattern. And I think that's what we continue to go higher, corn and beans. When you get the wheat in a minute, I'll give you a different story.
All right, well, and there we are with July Chicago wheat down a penny at 6.18 1/4. The Kansas City wheat market, though, for July is down 8 1/2 at 5.82 3/4. Minneapolis wheat for July is down 2 1/4 at 6.33 1/4. But Todd, there's quite we got the spread between Kansas City and Chicago pretty close here about 3 to 4 weeks ago, and now we're widening that back out again.
Well, and wheat happens to be kind of negative right now. We've been concerned about it the last couple of weeks because it was failing to hold that support level, and it finally gave way at the end of last week. So I'm a little negative on wheat here. I mean, overall, I'm very bullish the entire complex, but right now I have to be more negative on wheat and not so anxious to jump in because we look like we're in a negative pattern. You can see that playing out between Kansas City and Chicago, and just in the old Chicago wheat itself, it is breaking below major support levels, which will not attract new money buyers, which it has a greater chance for now to attract some selling.
Okay, we'll come back in just a moment and get your thoughts on the meat complex. That's straight ahead. Stay with us here on the Market Day Report. Let's get right into this livestock market here on the futures first. And again, these futures are provided by Bar Chart. April live cattle up 60 at 119 even, leaves us 42 pennies away from the high. June is up 57. The August is up 47. Over in the feeder cattle market, we've got the April now up 62 at 140.05. The May is up 135 and the August is up 85. But we started the day with a weak hog complex. We've got the April now up 30 at 94.55, but the May is down 85. You go out here to those summer months, we're well under $100 now. 99.20 on the June. That is down $1.40. I want to mention what's going on with the dollar here today because we've got an expert to talk about this. The June dollar index is down 135 points at 91.790. Todd, I want to get into the kind of the micro and the macroeconomics of this livestock trade and the meats. And the reason I say that a little bit is how soon, or has anybody talked about when they're going to start opening some of the other parts of the country, like your hometown of Chicago?
Well, in Chicago, I think we're at 48% now open. And they're gonna continue to open. This became an issue about money and stimulus, And as they get more stimulus money, they're going to open more of these restaurants, which again, obviously is a big boom. They're going to allow more get-togethers. We're going right into barbecuing season. I think the meats look phenomenal here. Again, we've had our bounces back and forth, but overall, I think they look really solid. And I think you've seen Las Vegas now is open at about 60 or 65%. So I would expect to see by the middle to end of summer, probably open almost 100% across the board, unless there's some major failure. But with all the vaccines now Johnson & Johnson out, I think you're going to see the economy start to open. And I think that, you're going to see much greater opportunity in the protein complex because, of course, we're going into grilling season. You open more restaurants, creates more of a demand. I think we're in really good shape.
But some of these restaurants closed and some won't reopen. Do you think that has an effect on this protein complex?
I think that's a very bad thing that has happened, but there will be, people are starving to get out, pardon the pun, but they're starving to get out of their house and get to places. And they'll basically go anywhere, which will help some of the major chains. Unfortunately, for example, all my favorite restaurants are all local because I try to only do business with local companies. They're all busted out because, of course, they had to be shut down too long, which is a horrible tragedy in many of these states. But overall, I think that people are going to get out and they're going to go out to eat because they want to get back into the restaurants. They'll go anywhere. So I think it'll be good for the protein complex, not so good for the small business.
Great point. All right. Thank you very much, Todd. Sure appreciate it. Christina, that is the latest from the market desk. Back to you, ma'am.